First of all, everyone says social media is free. I don't know about you, but I disagree. I think it's priceless, but I think it's definitely a cost involved because my time and energy is put into that. You know, why do most companies not use social media? First of all, they don't have the time, they don't understand it, and they have no idea what to use for content. And we know relevant content is what keeps them there. Would $10,000 be important to you?
Yes.
I think most of us would be. You know, working with one client, just changing a little bit on LinkedIn, and I know Josh will speak to this clearly, but just changing a little bit on LinkedIn was determined how they were found. So using that social media, again, to enhance what you're already doing. When we talk about Dr. Fazio, when he does his chiropractic work and all the events that he's doing, there's a strategy behind it. He didn't just show up and go, let's see what we can do to fix you today. He better have some idea of what he's looking at, but he has to know what's wrong. He has to know what the issues are that you're having. And it's the same thing when you're looking at a strategy for your social media to maximize that. You do realize social media is just part of the marketing puzzle piece. It's not all of it. You want to work with something, maybe you're giving away something for free, mine's an evaluation, but giving that away, we know that we need to build our email list. If you don't think so, let's talk to Tom Ruich, where you go. That building that email list is extremely valuable. All the lists that we can build is where the money is. So building that is part of that social media connection for the maximizing, because we're going to incorporate social media in all of that, as well as share our social media sites. When we talk about an ROI on social media, most people, of course, think about a return on investment. But we think about in social media return on influence. What are we trying to influence them to do? Are we trying to get them to go to our website where most of our things are housed? Are we trying to lead generate? Are we trying to just start a branding so we start to notice them so we know, like, and trust them? Now, when you look at a great avatar, do you recognize any of those people? I think they're fabulous people. Okay, I call them my friends as well as experts. Okay, but looking at great avatars, you want to think about it. That needs to be something, of course, that is congruent. It goes across the board. But you also want to think about it needs to be head and shoulders, and you need to be able to see the eyes because that's the first place you know and trust. Start to know, like, and trust someone. And very, very important that they be able to see a photo that they can recognize you today, not 20 years ago. Okay, every 60 seconds, this just blows me away, but every 60 seconds, every minute, 684,478 pieces of content are shared on Facebook alone. 48 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube. 571 new websites are created. You hear that, Karen? More than 100,000 tweets are sent, and 100 accounts are set up on LinkedIn. That's every minute. The percentage using social media platforms, you'll see the 18 to 29 is using a little bit more, but it doesn't mean that your target market's not on there. You've got to make sure, though, that you are using the correct platforms to maximize. They say 92% trust their friends and family for recommendations. Would you agree with that? Of course. 70% trust online consumer reviews. Again, it's still human generated. Okay, and only 14% trust advertisements such as radio and TV. They have recently found, and I've been finding this for a long while with my Facebook analytics, that the best time for my engagement is at 2:30 in the afternoon. Statistics haven't shown us that, but you need to know your own analytics. You need to know where your people are coming to you, how they're seeing your information, and what times they're doing this. But they're saying on Facebook now the best times to post are at 1 and 3. Do you know 47% of the people say that the first place they check out a company and get a recommendation is on Facebook? I call Facebook the referral of the referral, meaning that I may not need Judy's services and her classes and all, but when I'm talking to other people, because I've seen it often enough that first thing I go is, oh, you need to go to one of Judy's classes. It's the referral of the referral. On Facebook, there's 1.3 billion users, 745 million mobile users, and you got to be mobile friendly today, 54.2 million business pages. Do you recognize any more of those experts on there? Okay. Tumblr, maybe some of you haven't used Tumblr, but Tumblr is just a blog site. But when you're going to use Tumblr, you set it up and do your blogging on your own site first before you come here. But it's interesting, the growth from Facebook versus Tumblr. July to December 2014, Facebook grew 2%. Tumblr grew 120%. That's huge. When you're looking at your Facebook cover, that is extremely valuable to you. That is real estate space, so use it wisely. Yours may look like that, where it shares exactly what they see on your other sites. Could be something that you're using or doing. What do you think about this one? I think Red Canoe Media looks pretty awesome there. The cover size on that, if you're not aware of it, is 851 pixels by 315. Now, I use a scheduler on steroids. It's called Social Zing. However, I want to talk to you about that. If you're going to automate things, it's not to put it on automation and let it go and never come back. Social media is called social for a reason. You have to be able to use that time and spend it wisely on coming back in the engagement. We're going to skip through that. 50% of internet users who do not use Facebook themselves live with someone who does. How many of you, your spouse or significant other has a Facebook account? How many do not? Oh, My husband does now that it was constantly, how do you know that? How do you know that? Facebook. How many posts are too many? Have any thoughts on that? Anybody have any thoughts?
One a day.
One a day is too many?
Anything more than that.
Anything more than one? If you're only posting one time per day, I probably won't see any of yours because of the algorithms and how fast it goes. Scott?
I think it varies based on your industry and based on, some industries, if you're a restaurant, you can post multiple times a day. If you're like a professional services firm, it may be less than that. But I do agree, because nominally, you're probably not going to get seen. So.
Right. Okay, I agree totally with Scott. It depends on your industry. It depends on what platform you're posting on, and totally your audience. Tom?
And it depends on what you're posting.
True, if it's relevant content.
Good content, then post away. If it's irrelevant, one post is too many.
You're right, exactly. One post could be too much if it's not relevant. Okay, and the Gen Ys, I thought this was interesting. They spend 2 hours a day on their phone, on social media, and using 6 different apps. 71% say that they have forecasted and put in their marketing budgets this year to do social media and online work on their social sites. 72% of all U.S. internet users use social networks. Does that tell us we have a market, all of us, no matter what industry? Okay. If you use a hashtag, we would love for you to use Don't Fly Alone. That would be ideal if you could do that. We appreciate that. So working with a hashtag just funnels everything so you can see it all in one location. And a hashtag, of course, was pioneered by Twitter. However, it's on all the social sites today. Twitter has 240 million users. 60% of all tweets are done using mobile. I think we'd agree with that, don't you? Okay. Do you know when the engagement is higher, what days of the week on Twitter?
Friday and Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday, actually. You've got your weekend, so it's higher engagement. Do you know what the maximum number of tweets you can do in a day?
20,000.
No, not that many. 1,000 tweets. Although if you're sitting there doing 1,000 tweets, I don't think you're getting much done in your business. Another way that you can market today and cross-reference your social media, because it's cross-pollinating all the way through. If you wanted to text the number 60637 and put in E for E, you'll see another way to cross-pollinate, because using text messaging today is another way to build your social media. On LinkedIn, how many of you have been on LinkedIn more than 5 years? Most of us. When I joined LinkedIn, some of you may be like me, I joined LinkedIn only because someone I knew, liked, and trusted asked me to join. Had no clue what it was. But it wasn't until we started seeing some results from it. The most important area you have on LinkedIn is your title. You get 120 characters. Use it wisely. In mine, you'll see I get an opportunity to do a little call to action. Let's market you. And you'll notice I use my phone number on mine, because if I'm speaking at an event and they don't have my email address or they didn't get that information, they can still contact me by my phone number. The best days we have found on LinkedIn to post is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So if you're going to do something important that you really want to make sure is getting out there, use that wisely and post more important items on that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday you want to get across. And then, of course, You've got an opportunity on LinkedIn to have the big cover photo. If you're not taking advantage of that, you should, because that's the first thing they see when they get to your page. You'll see, I love this one. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think Cynthia did. Of course, we know she's a visual branding expert here. But using that, it gives you a nice background and it catches your attention. And most of us are visual. On LinkedIn, there's 300 million users, 40% check in daily, 3 million business pages, 1.5 million LinkedIn groups, and 1 billion LinkedIn endorsements. Endorsements are not recommendations. Endorsement says, I agree, that's what they do. A recommendation says, I have used them, and this is why I recommend them. Recommendations, giving them are just as important as receiving them. I do think, I call Will the SEO guru, and that's just how I feel about it, and I would give him a recommendation any day, but I've worked with him. I know the results he gets, so I'm willing to give that recommendation. Now, if you've done a job well, you have a right to ask for that recommendation. But tell them what you're looking for. Just don't ask for the recommendation, because what happens is we go, oh, I don't know what to say. What do they want me to say? What do they really want me to emphasize? So if you'll give them 3 points of what you're looking for, you know, was I knowledgeable? Was I professional? Would you refer me? What did you see the most value in? They can write that very quickly. Always start with a calendar, because it needs to be strategic. If you're putting information out there, just like Tom referenced, if it's relevant content, they're going to stay with you. If it's not, you're going to lose them very, very quickly. So make sure you're putting out relevant content. But by planning that out for a month, it's extremely valuable. I just want you to think about, if you are just doing drive-bys on your social media, so you're just putting information out there, just putting information out there, just putting information out there, and it's all about you, all about you, all about you. You are just driving by. You are never going to make a connection, and you're never going to have a relationship. So I ask you to take time to engage and build those relationships. That's what makes social media, and that's how you can maximize it. Thank you.